Hello, and welcome to The Dive In, a podcast where we go beyond the surface of the stories that captivate us. I'm your host, Kathleen. Let's dive in. Today, I'm excited to be joined again by Akash. How are you doing today? Good morning.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, the usual things. I am doing well today. I am surrounded by two dogs. I have a latte I made utilizing coffee from Turbo Coffee from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. But I also have a lovely espresso from Perk Coffee in Savannah, one of my favorites. If you're in the Savannah area in Georgia, you should go there. Same with Turbo Coffee in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. If you don't know where those places are, I don't blame you. Those are random cities that you might not know where they are. But I do. And what's important is I am caffeinated because otherwise my heart would stop. Do you not like your coffee this morning, Kathleen? That was a
It's
face you just made.
it's fine. I can't tell what I did wrong.
Okay.
It's it's a latte. It's just milk, coffee concentrate, and a brown sugar cinnamon syrup that I made myself, and I don't know what too much. There's too much of something in there. Let's just put it that
Well,
way.
well, Kathleen, I think at this point the audience knows we like to disagree or agree and like come to a compromise on many things.
Yes.
But I think we should start with a fight. Are you a coffee in a mug person or a coffee in a cup like you're drinking a pint glass like you're drinking it out of person?
I mean, obviously, if I'm in the mood for hot coffee, I go for a mug. I want to put it in a glass. But
Because this is just a cold latte. I like the grip. I know I'm holding it without the grip a lot, but that I
no,
like the grip.
no, if it's cold, I have to have a straw. That's just an aesthetic thing because I don't like the ice. Yeah, that's
That's
it.
fair. I require like if I'm drinking these mugs I've had for a long time, so I know how to drink out of them. But I have a big mustache. For
Do you not know
people,
how to drink out of other mugs?
well, let me finish. Hold on. So I don't want like a milk mustache on top of my mustache, so I have to use straws a lot. Uh,
Gotcha.
but like as I've had the mustache longer, I'm getting better and better at not looking like a child with a mustache and not just like making a mess, like not needing a bib.
That's fair. That's fair.
Speaking of
Um,
children, though, you wanna introduce this movie?
Yeah, so today we got a great conversation lined up about the Wild Robot. So yeah, let's dive in. Just as a quick synopsis, completely spoiler free, The Wild Robot is a 2024 DreamWorks film that essentially follows this robot whose ship crashes onto the banks of a wilderness. And not knowing what her objective is, she learns to communicate with the wildlife around her and ends up accidentally adopting a baby gosling. She must then raise this gosling before the fall so he can fly south for the winter. I would say this movie like is really touches on the emotions of just like of finding and belonging and love and everything like that. So yeah, that's your quick spoiler-free synopsis.
Another
Uh,
spoiler-free thing
yeah.
is just the freaking lineup of talent in this movie.
Oh
Oh
my
my God.
gosh,
So
the
we've got
stars.
Roz is Lupita Nyong'o.
Hmm.
She was in like Black Panther. She's been in a
Yes.
couple of Jordan Peele's movies. She was
Yeah.
Nakia in Black Panther, the love interest.
Yeah.
She was in both Black Panthers. I'm saying like there's just one. She was in Us. She was in Little Monsters. She's been in
Yeah.
quite a lot of things, and she does a lot of voice acting. She was in 12 Years a Slave as Patsy. Fink, the fox, is Pedro
Pedro
Pascal,
Pascal. Oh my gosh.
which I didn't
Anything.
even realize until like the credits, and I was like, you're
Really.
in everything, bro.
He was great.
Bright Bill's Kit Connor,
Yes.
Stephanie Sue is Vantra, and I was like, what?
You know who
And
she
then
is, right?
yeah,
She's Joy from Everything Everywhere All at Once.
yeah, exactly.
Oh
I
my
was like,
gosh.
what? And then we've got Mark Hamill in here as Thorn, which
Yes.
I know Mark Hamill's voice. Like he does a lot of
Yes.
voices, but at this point, I've grown up with the man. Um,
Catherine
Ving
O'Hara.
Rhames,
Oh, go for
Yeah,
it.
Catherine O'Hara's Pinktail, and
Yeah.
then Ving Rhames is Thunderbolt. Um,
Yes.
Ving Rhames is he's a good actor, but he is in a lot of like voice acting stuff. He's in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 as the robot Charlie number something.
Okay.
Yeah, he's been in a lot of like different things, like video games and stuff like that as well. Like just and Thunderbolt, the Falcon, who has a wonderful voice. Like literally, he started talking, and I was
Yes.
like, oh, just tell me a bedtime story. Just like sing me a lullaby in that voice, please.
Oh, we go to sleep to very different things. Um,
I had a terrible night's sleep, so I barely slept last night. You don't sleep, by the way. You should know this, listeners. Kathleen will sometimes just be like, "Yeah, it's like 4 a.m. I'm still
mhm.
up," and it's
Yeah.
not like she's like out clubbing. Like
No, no. Last week I was up till 5:30 in the morning.
I
Because
hate that.
we played board games for like 12 hours.
I'm so jealous of that.
That's
I played board games too this week. Haha. I
well,
won both games too.
wait, what games did you play?
We
Two.
just played 2 rounds of Marble Splendor.
Oh, I love Splinter.
It's
Okay.
such a good game. Continuing on, sorry. Me and Kathleen haven't talked in a couple of
Yeah,
weeks if you guys couldn't tell.
we haven't caught up yet. Yeah, so yeah, if you guys don't want to be spoiled for this movie and haven't watched it yet, I would go ahead and stop here because we're just gonna
Gush on this movie.
yes, while Akash tries to focus in his screen. Um
I swear I'm cool. Hold on. Technology. I'm so old. I'm so old. I'm sorry, everyone.
I don't know why you struggle so much because mine I've
It's
never
not
had
like I
any
do
issues.
anything. I stay within my bubble.
Yeah, you don't move. So I don't yeah.
If I
Anyway,
swing my hands too much, I lose my headphones.
yeah. I'm not even sure where to start with this one. I guess we can start like we have Roz and she crash lands like her and I think like five other robots. Like we're
I
on
think it
a
was six
ship.
total. Yeah, so five
Yeah,
others. Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah. And they're in a ship and like crash land and like she is activated and tries to find somebody to like find an objective and she just comes across all these animals and has all these mishaps and it's pretty much like scaring all these creatures and gets attacked a little bit as well and oh okay um
Just clicking things. Just trying to focus this.
um
There we go.
and then we lose our concentration. Um, yeah, and so then she finally decides to sit there and just take in all of the languages of pretty much the animals so that she can communicate with them.
She does
Uh,
it pretty quick too. It takes her like like a
well,
season or two,
yeah, maybe like a few.
maybe a
I bet
year.
a few seasons go by, but yeah,
I mean, like maybe I feel like all the animals we saw at the beginning were still the animals that were there afterwards,
that's
depending on how long
fair.
all these animals live.
That's fair.
I'm not a biologist, everyone. I'm not Forrest Galante. I don't know. But like yeah, and this is a very nice island. There are like yeah, there's predators and stuff, and they talk about it all the time. But overall, pretty good island to live on. I would
Yeah.
purchase a house there.
Yeah, it was a very calm. I was actually afraid towards the end. I'm just gonna jump around real quick.
Yeah, do you think?
That they were gonna like bring humans there on accident and then they were gonna like try to develop the land. And I was like, don't you dare destroy this oasis. That would destroy me. Uh like,
Kathleen's holding on by just a thread, you guys.
well,
Just a thread.
before I saw this movie, everyone was like was saying like, "Oh, the second half, I cried the whole way through," and that like the ending's not like super happy. And so I was like, "Oh no. Oh no." And I sure enough, yeah,
People
like
said that.
yeah.
I'm we people watch movies differently than I do. That was a beautiful ending.
Yes. No, I do agree. But I mean, she's still technically yeah. Yeah, it was beautiful that they were able to find each other in the end.
This
But
movie, yeah, this movie was crazy. Like it
did you cry?
I wiped away some moist eyes, but I was not like full cry, but I got
I
close, man.
I was ugly crying.
And not
Like,
because let me be clear, it wasn't because I was sad. I was just like, this is so beautiful. Look at the love. It did a wonderful job I thought the pacing in this was great. Let me
Yeah.
be
Well,
very clear here. I thought the pacing in this was incredibly well done.
yeah. It actually, in the very beginning, I felt it was a little quick, but obviously this is a kids movie, so it makes sense where it's like, okay, we need to jump into the story. And it would have, if they had expanded at the beginning, I think it would have taken away from a lot of the feelings that we get later on.
I do. What's really interesting is at first I was like, "Oh, this movie's going pretty quick."
Hmm.
And it was not like I didn't realize the time of it. The movie's an hour and 42 minutes. Like they
Yeah.
did a lot in an
In a
hour and
very,
42
in a
minutes.
very short amount of time. Yeah.
Well, you know about this director, right? The director
Yes.
and
Oh
what he
my
did.
gosh. I wrote so much stuff about him.
Yeah, let's
This
talk about him.
man,
Let's talk about
Chris,
him.
Chris Sanders, and he helped write the screenplay for this. Obviously, Peter Brown was also credited, and he's the author
Mhm.
of the books that this is based
Yeah,
off of, which I personally never read them, had not heard of them
I've
before,
never read the
but
books.
but I heard
Yeah.
they're really good. But I heard it was like 90% like translated from the book, like
Which
very,
is
very close.
amazing. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm glad they worked with a writer to get the
Yeah,
screenplay done.
yeah. But Chris Sanders, oh my, like I literally my note says he's a writer on so much. Like How
Oh
to
yeah, I
Train
have
Your
his
Dragon,
IMDb pulled
Lilo
up
and
right
Stitch,
here.
The Croods, Lion King, Beauty and the Beast. Like like did it. He did it all. He is
Yeah,
my
he helped
new
write
favorite person.
he helped write Aladdin, The
Yep.
Lion King, Mulan,
Yep, Mulan.
and so
The
let me be clear.
the animated one. Let's
Uh,
also make that clear. These are all the
yeah,
animated ones.
these are all animated. You know what? I'm gonna start a fight in the comments. I think this movie was just as good, if not better, than The Iron Giant.
Ooh. Okay. I have not seen the Iron Giant since it came out. So
Okay, that's surprising.
I
I've seen it. I mean, I haven't seen it in years, but I remember it.
I remember parts of it.
Like it is a beautiful. It's one of the best animated movies in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I do think this is one of, if not the best animated movie I've ever seen. I love the How to Train Your Dragons. I thought
Yeah.
he's done wonderful work with that. I
Mhm.
do think that Peter Brown, the original author for this, crushed it.
Yeah, he wrote
I'm
and
like, wow.
he wrote a very beautiful, heartfelt story. Yeah, like
It
just yeah.
The
Um,
beats of the movie were wonderful. Like you're happy, you're sad, you're laughing, you're sad, you're happy, you're like, oh my God. And then like the action was neither too much nor too little. Like
yeah,
some like it worked wonderfully. I thought
yeah.
every single character in this felt like a real character.
Yeah. I will say, as far as like action goes, in the very beginning, I was kind of like, okay, we're falling again, or we're getting attacked again, or this is happening again. I was like, when is like there going to be more exposition and less action? Because it was just like, for me personally, action is my least favorite drama or genre.
Mhm.
So like for me, I was just like, okay, let's get to some story. All we've seen is just her
Yeah.
getting injured, and it wasn't dry. I mean, it drove the story a little, but I do think that's like the one place where I was like, we didn't need to draw
I
that out nearly as long.
I think that's the aspect where like clearly this is a movie that is animated and such and is more directed towards a younger crowd and such. So I think that might be specifically to keep the younger crowd focused.
Fair. Yeah.
But like this is probably one of the highest rated movies we've ever watched for this podcast. Like I'm seeing upwards of 95 to 98% positive reviews
Fair. Yeah.
on this.
Yeah.
Google is 98. Rotten Tomatoes is a 98%,
Hmm.
which is crazy.
Is
For
that
also,
audience or
I
critic?
will tell you. Let me click it. It is both.
Wow.
It
Yeah.
is 98% critics and 98% audience.
It is I mean, it was a very, very good movie. I think I listened to a few other podcasts and they were saying that like this movie is probably gonna take the Oscars.
Oh,
Yeah.
honestly, if it doesn't win, okay, we're. I'm gonna move away from the story completely for a second. I had a friend be like, "Hey, you've seen the Into the Spider-Verse movies?" I'm like, "Yes, I have. The music and art direction
Oh,
and the color scheme is beautiful in
beautiful.
that.
Yeah.
The music direction in this movie is immaculate. The music they chose in this movie, I was literally like, who is in charge of this? Because they need a raise. And then the color direction in this movie, like the
Yeah.
animation in this movie is both vibrant, fluid, and beautiful. It is one of the best animated movies I've ever seen,
Yeah.
strictly in animation. Don't get me wrong, the Into the Spider-Verse movies are really good. They're really cool with what they did and such like that.
Careful what you're saying here.
This movie, to like, I like the second Into the Spider-Verse where they go to Spider-Gwen's world and like
Yeah.
all of the colors are like emotions and stuff like that. Freaking mind-blowing,
Yeah.
amazing. I think this movie and Into the Spider-Verse like jumps around with their color direction and stuff like that because of the different universes, Spider-Mans and things like that. So they get all kinds of crazy stuff in this. To have one kind of style throughout this entire movie and do it as well as they did and still introduce other color schemes and color grades in the way they did, even when Roz had different emotions and stuff with like the purples and the
Hmm.
blues and like how they did that, I think is utterly beautiful.
Yeah.
And I just want to see what the budget for this movie was because like
Mhm.
the animation and stuff, like it had to be like
Yeah.
super. Um, so this movie had a 78 $78 million budget.
Wow. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I did read that, and I think they had said that they only made like 61 so far, last I
I
saw.
mean, yeah, it came out like like a couple days ago.
It came out September. Oh, I wrote it down. No, I did not. At the end of September. So yeah, it's been about a week.
Yeah, like
Uh,
it's been about a week. So as of 24 hours ago, it reached another global box office milestone. It passed 60, yeah, it's past the $60 million mark yesterday. Um, and it means that Chris Sanders' direction and such like that, with all of his box office debuts in his career, has passed the 1.5 billion mark,
Wow.
which is insane. Uh,
Yes.
but like, I just want to, in comparison, yeah. So put in perspective, the Into the Spider-Verse movies have a budget of this is just Into the Spider-Verse. Had a budget closer to $100 million.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, and it is just a bigger IP. That's what I'm saying. Like this is an unknown IP, and it is beautiful.
I
Like
mean, I wouldn't say it's unknown. It's literally a book series.
I thought it was just one book.
It's 3 books, I believe.
Is it really? I had
Yeah.
no idea. Like,
Yep.
well done on that. I and they've left the path easily open for a sequel
Yeah.
for the movie.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But I'm seeing speculations that this thing's gonna break 100 mil. I
Oh,
think it's gonna get.
easily.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this hits like 200 mil. And it's an animated movie. And I only really saw like maybe one or two trailers for this. I didn't see a lot of trailers or stuff for this, honestly,
I
myself.
think I think I saw quite a few, and I saw a lot of posters as well, and then a lot of influencers were promoting it. So uh, so that I saw a lot of promotion for that for this movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
The trailers I saw, I was like, damn, this is like really cool.
Yeah.
Because I like the animation and just that. But like, yeah, I like after left that movie, I was like literally like in awe of like the style and quality of what I
Yeah.
had seen.
I will
I
say
messaged my fiance right afterwards that we need to watch this movie again.
no,
Well, she needs to watch it, yeah.
I I told my mom, I was like, "Oh, you need to watch this movie." And she's like, "Oh, what platform?" I was like, "It's at this thing called the theater." I know it's a little old school, but if you don't
It's a
mind a
little
little
old
if you don't mind
school.
a little socialization, you'll be fine.
Who socializes at the movie theater?
Well, you gotta ask for the popcorn and for the ticket. Well, you don't
That's what you mean.
actually you don't because you can do everything on your app now and just sit there and then the person just brings you the popcorn. So,
Yeah, or you pick it up
yeah.
when you get there, kind of thing, which
Yeah.
is fine. I usually go to the movies alone. I have people get upset at me that I go watch movies alone, and they're like, "Why don't you?" Like, I have multiple friends. I'll be like, "I could go with you," and I was like, "I don't want to. I just don't want to go with people. I don't talk to me. I want to watch the movie in
Yeah.
silence. I want my popcorn. I want my water. If they have a beer, I'll grab a beer. I'll sit there and I'll watch my movie, and I'll be happy. I'll be good. I'll be away from the universe."
See, sometimes I'll go and watch like 3 movies back to back. I'll just spend a day in the theater. and I'll tell people, I'm like, hey, if you want to come see one of these movies, this is what time I'm going. And then like they'll just join me for the one movie.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And also, I want everyone to put in the comments if she's crazy or not.
I don't think so. I
I don't
mean,
think you're crazy at all. But get
no.
in the comments anyway.
Um, no, I really like this movie. Like one of the like the biggest focuses and the thing that like made me cry the most, I think is like just like the way that they showed for like a kids movie, they showed a lot of like what motherhood is
Absolutely.
and just being able to like decide like this Gosling just becomes her entire world, her
Mhm.
objective. Even though like it's clear that like that's not what she's made for. And she's like, I don't know how to do this. Like this can't be my objective. And like
Oh,
Pigtail's just like,
absolutely.
no, this is your objective is to get it to swim, get it to eat, get it to fly. Like that's your
And she
objective.
checks them all off, but like
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's amazing because they explain very much like before people start going robots are robots, they don't feel anything. They explain it, okay? That's all of human the human brain has been mapped out. They've been able to put it
Yeah.
in this, like this has the ability to learn and like things like that. Let me be clear here. They explain this very quickly that this robot is much better than you think it is.
Yeah.
And we see, I think, maybe like six humans in this entire movie, which is amazing.
Yeah, which is great.
Um,
We don't
yeah,
need them. They will destroy the whole I like I said, I was afraid they were gonna come and destroy the whole thing. I thought the thing from Happy Feet was gonna happen where the humans
mhm.
showed up and took all the penguins. I was like, don't you dare.
This
Don't
it
don't do this to me.
don't do this to me. This did wonderful. I
Yeah.
thought that and this is the interesting part. Side characters in animated movies or in real like action movie, like live action movies, do feel like side characters. Like
Yeah.
you like they're not supposed to be like the main thing and whatever. But every character that had like a voice actor, like there were some that were just making noises because animals, you know. But like
Yeah.
every single character that had a voice actor, minus even the bullying goslings, even like the bullies,
Yeah.
every single one felt like a fleshed out character.
Yeah. They all had like who they were, their backstory, like why they were the way that they were. Like it was, yeah, it was
It
great.
was
And
a
they
style of
like
storytelling.
Fink, for example, he
Mm-hmm.
was somebody who he literally just wants to be loved and find a place where he fits in. But like I'm pretty sure he pushes everyone away before like he can even like get that love, or people assume things about him because he's a fox. And so he shows them,
Mm-hmm.
okay, fine, I'm a fox. Watch me do this thing. And then he's alone the whole time. And
they really
oh,
steer
I cried.
into they really steer into like the animals being animals, like
Yeah.
in the stereotypes of the animals.
Well, it's
But
not
they also
stereotypes. It's the food chain. It's their
oh,
life. It's their
absolutely.
livelihood.
But
Yeah.
I'm saying like because like at the end of the day, it's like it's a the animals can talk. Like obviously it's slightly different, but like
Well, technically,
they
they're not talking. Roz can just understand them. There's a difference.
that's true.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
I concede you are correct. However, like also this movie's by Universal Productions, technically
Yeah,
speaking.
yeah.
Like they
Universal
distribute it,
Dreamworks.
so you can go meet Roz at Universal at some point. I'm guessing Universal
Oh,
Studios
I'm
theme
sure
park.
they'll build something. I'm trying to think of like what they
It
shut down
is
recently.
difficult because Roz feels like an answer to Baymax in a way from Big Hero 6.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Baymax because Baymax
Yeah.
is a very cute, fluffy marshmallow thing. Roz has much more of a character. Like
Yeah.
Roz is a character in this, and you see I think this movie and Roz's like character arc, you could look at it as literally what character development in a movie should be.
Yeah.
Like in an hour and 42 minutes, we see a robot that literally is just a robot turn into a savior, a mom, a friend, and for lack of a better word, like like something with humanity.
Yeah.
And it is
Yeah.
yeah, it's like it really emotional. It is an incredibly like even though there's like humor and things like thrown in there, at no point are you like, oh, there's no emotion in this movie. It is only emotion. Even the
Yeah.
colors they use are to show emotion. When like the Gosling hatches and like puts his Bright Bill puts his little head like to Roz, and they like change the light scheme for that scene, and like Roz's eyes get real big. Like, yeah, they depict emotion very colorfully and viscerally in this movie.
Yeah.
And once again, the music direction is so good. Like, it's
Hmm.
so good, man. What is your name? I need to find it. Music by Bowers. He does Bridgerton. He's the music.
That's
He's the music.
interesting because most of the music from Bridget. Okay, hold on. I only watched the first season and now I feel like I'm gonna misremember this, but I think most of the music was contemporary, but it was turned into instrumental music.
So he
So,
is the composer on Bridgerton for 24 episodes. I have no
eh,
idea how many episodes Bridgerton is.
I don't
I don't
know.
know.
I have not caught up with it.
He was the composer on Chevalier, Raising Dion, King Richard, Dear White People, Space Jam: A New Legacy. Quite a lot. Like,
Okay.
he's the composer on a lot of stuff. He was music department on other stuff. Um, he was a producer on certain things, of course, as well. But yeah, I Am Giant, Origin, like Night Nurse, Bob Marley. He was a composer on the Bob Marley One Love movie.
Interesting.
So not a small composer or
No.
music guy at all. Um, and then art direction. Yes, I need to say this man's name. He needs to know Richie Cecilio. Cecilio. I'm butchering his last name. But he also did the art direction on Monsters vs. Aliens, Flushed Away, and Kung Fu Panda.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he
Nice.
also did
Those are good. I like those movies.
he did the art direction on Spirit.
Oh, okay. Spirit was like was like my jam as a
Yeah,
kid. I used to like literally because of I want to say because of that movie, I was so into horses. I learned horseback riding. I knew
I love that.
everything. As a kid, I knew everything about horses. I could tell you all the different breeds. I could tell you how to, like all the pieces of saddles and bridles and like I knew everything. I knew and like I could to this day I can still muck stalls and clean out their hooves and stuff like that.
A day and a half after I proposed to my fiance, we went horseback riding in Italy.
Oh,
Uh,
nice. Western?
yeah, we were in Tuscany, so
No,
central.
Western style riding?
I
Did
don't
you
know what that means. I had a
did you
saddle,
did you have a horn on the saddle?
like, in front of me.
Yeah, the thing that you hold on to on a saddle.
It wasn't raised. It was just like part of. There wasn't like a spot like in between. Like, I just was holding on to the saddle itself. Like, I had the reins, and I
Yeah,
was just like to not like. I was on the biggest horse,
interesting.
by the way. I was on the tallest horse, so I had like the reins where they told me to hold it, and I was just like, oh, I can just hold onto this saddle as well, just to make sure the horse knows I'm not like pulling too hard or anything like
Mm,
that. She was a nice horse. She
nice,
only tried to eat grass the once.
nice.
Yeah. However, back to this. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
these people need to know, like, this. They've done amazing.
yeah.
Like, and I hope everyone already knows. Like, also, it's already won 2 awards. It's had 2 nominations and won both.
What
Chris,
nominations?
the San Sebastian International Film Festival.
Nice.
Chris
Yeah.
Sanders won the Greenpeace Luro Award for this movie, and then in the Heartland Film Festival, which I think was just a little bit ago, they won the Truly Moving Picture Award.
Oh yeah. No,
Yeah,
I just like I just want to talk about the like just how this movie just captivated like just I don't know just the unknowingness of like what you're doing and going through life and
yeah,
how like
and
no
that you
one
can't do it alone.
literally no one knows what they are doing like that is one of the biggest things that they talk about in this and not only that but like we're all just trying to like survive and find belonging and like to love each other and yeah it's
Sometimes to
very
sometimes you have to go against your programming is
yeah
literally one of the deepest things I've ever heard.
hmm
Because it is like you are raised in certain ways and things like that. And maybe all you know is certain things, but like deep down you might know it's right or wrong or whatever it is. And sometimes it you can be better than your programming. And
Oh,
that
yeah.
is for like first of all, for a child, incredibly formative to say.
Yeah.
And for an adult, you're just like I literally had to move my glasses and I was like, all right, we're good, we're good, we're good. My fiance
No.
was like, could you just cry at the movies? And I was like, I almost did. This movie almost got me from just wholesomeness and beauty.
Oh no, I Snapchatted Kat afterwards and like just tears and I was like, I'm okay, but like I'm not okay.
Did I called my friend with two kids, one's 3 and one's like 2, and I was like, you need to take your
Mm,
kids to see this movie. Go with your wife and bring some tissues for your wife. And he was
no,
like, are my kids gonna be traumatized? I'm like, no, they will
no,
not be traumatized.
no. I honestly, I'm just like any mothers out there, watch this by yourself first because you will
Oh my
cry. You are
God, dude.
going to cry.
It
That's yeah. And if you don't
is
want your kids to see, then watch it by yourself.
like it is so good. I I like
Yeah.
what haven't we hit on with this movie? Is there a part of this movie that you wanted to talk about that we just haven't hit on?
I mean, we can talk about some of like the scenes and stuff that were like really cool. Like I thought it was really like just funny when like she first like obviously there's an element in there about she's the reason why Brightville does not have a family that are
Hmm.
geese.
Yes.
And um it was an accident, but that's still hard to hear because technically
Hmm.
speaking, she is the monster. She is the
Hmm.
man-made machine that's not supposed to be fitting in there, that's not supposed to be there, destroyed the rest of his family. But she like, took in his egg and tried to protect it, and then like it just starts cracking, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, no!" Like putting it back together, like trying to hold it together, and yet he still breaks free.
Hmm.
Um,
It's amazing because it's one of those like, yeah, it sucks. Like
yeah,
it's sad and it was an accident, but it goes into like
yeah,
the predatory nature of this island. But
yeah,
then the fact like he finally learns from Longneck, who Longneck is played by Bill Nighy,
yeah,
Nighy. He is in everything.
yeah.
He's literally in everything.
He is, yeah. He's voiced so
So
many things and just acted in so many things as well.
yeah, I
Yeah,
like I don't even know what to tell people that he's in. Everything, like just everything. He's played a vampire in a bunch of stuff. He was the Minister Rufus in Harry Potter. He
okay. I know
he's the
he's
chief
also
inspector.
he's also in Love Actually. Like there's
Oh my God, he
so many
is.
things. Yeah.
Dude, take a break, bro. Take a break. But also his voice is so good.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that he did
How
it.
dare you make me care about a goose? Like geese suck where I live, and you make me care about like multiple goslings.
Yeah. I mean, so yeah, he was the one who like told Brightville, like look at yourself. Like you are smaller than everyone else here. You are not supposed to survive this island,
Mhm.
period. And she made sure it happened. Like that is like somebody who cared about you because they made sure that you could fly south for the winter. And to like, yeah. And then he tries to go back. I'm gonna cry. He tries to go back to tell her that he loves her, and she is like going
Mhm.
to find a beacon or putting the beacon on so that she can go back because she doesn't think that Brightbow loves her. And she's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, like that's that. And the one thing that like really broke my heart is when like she like asked Fink like something about love. I don't remember exactly what. And he's like, I wouldn't know. I was like, okay,
Oh, that one
okay,
hurt.
oh, okay.
I was like, bro,
Someone bring him a lady fox right now.
someone
Someone
bring him a lady
give
fox.
him a hug. Something, please.
There are a couple of quotes from this movie, and one was very much, "You'll never be the perfect mother, so just do the best you can. All really needs is to know you're doing your best." And I was like, oh.
Mm.
And then like my mind is strong, but my body will not last forever. I want to survive as long as possible, and to do that, I will need the help of my friends. I was like, oh. I
Mhm.
was like, you gonna do me like this? I was like, I'm alone in a. I wasn't alone in the movie. There were a couple of other people, but I was like, you're gonna do me like this? Like,
Man.
I'm just, there were, once again, this is an animated movie about a robot being a mom to a gosling, and we were getting emotional in a freaking movie theater with this. It
I'm
was
it
so
was so
good.
bad. Yeah. Oh no, yeah, it was so good. But yeah, no, just to feel
It was,
it too many feelings for like the most minuscule things and
dude, and in some of
ah
these quotes, well, hold on, what was the author's name? Peter Brown.
yeah.
Peter Brown, how dare you, Peter Brown? Like one of the quotes, being alone doesn't mean being lonely. And I was like, bro, this is a kid's movie. Like, like,
Yeah.
and like this movie is not just about motherhood, it's about friendship and just like
Yeah.
being open to friend. Like, I forget which character says it. Something about like friendship doesn't have borders or species. It's Fink. Fink is the one. Um, and he's literally like talking. It's like we need friendship knows no boundaries of species or race or anything like that, and everything that unites us is just being kind and understanding.
Mhm.
I'm paraphrasing what he said. I don't have literal quote in front of me, and so that was awesome. And
Yeah.
and then the music freaking swells, and literally I was like, dude, you're hitting me with words and emotions and then musically emotional. Like I was literally like crazy. um and
Yeah.
um and then long neck goes like change is inevitable. It's how you adapt that determines your fate. And I
Yeah.
was like, damn, dude, a goose, an old goose is gonna teach me life lessons.
Yeah.
Like this is, I don't know if I'd call it a fable. Like fables have like are stories for kids and things like that that
Yeah.
have like a lesson. And I think there's a lot of lessons in here. I don't
Hmm.
know the technical definition of a fable, but I think that
I,
is like I'm going to find the technical definition, and I will decide if it's a fable.
I think
A
it's a
short
little,
short story, typically with animals as characters conveying a moral.
I
This
think
is
it,
a fable.
I think it's a little long to be a fable because there's a lot of details, but I'm sure if you condense it, it can be a fable.
You know what? It's only an hour and 42 minutes. I'm going to call that a short story. I'm going to say it's a fable. I have no authority to say that. Therefore, that means I don't have any non authority to say it. I think there's a lot of lessons that people can learn from here. And if you watch this movie, please have tissues. If you are,
Yeah.
if you have any sort of emotional feelings, bring
Yes.
tissues because this will strike so many chords in great
Hmm.
ways. I
Yeah.
when you messaged me, you cried during this movie. I was like, oh no, what am I doing? What am I getting into?
I think I want to say because there was something I was going to mention. I was like in comparison to like everything everywhere all at once because I cried
Oh,
through that for a very different reason. Um, but then this one was just I don't know, like in a more like warm and homely way. Like it was just more like everything everywhere all at once was more about understanding
mhm,
and joy and depression and stuff in that vein. But like this was more about just like being who you are and coming together and accepting other people and being okay with change and adapting and surviving. And it was like, okay, this is very different, warmer feeling. Like this is definitely still a kids movie. Like
mhm.
I would take someone who's in grade school to this for sure.
Absolutely. I think they'll
Um,
learn a lot.
yeah, I think they would enjoy it. I think they would find it funny and fun. Like there were a lot of scenes like when I was sitting there, I was like, oh, this part reminds me of Ice Age. Like them finding a gosling that they have to take care of, and now it's like her and the fox and all these animals that are being like witty and snooty against them when like in Ice Age, it's a bunch of misfit animals that came together, didn't eat each other, found a baby, and had to like take it back to its home. I was like, okay, so similar vibe there. And then there were like a few other things that reminded me of Shrek.
A
And
fox racing a goose was quite great.
it was great. I will, yeah, he was kind of like almost like a surrogate father.
Oh, 100%.
But
That's what I
like,
thought we were going for.
I feel like it, but he was a little bit more detached.
Like the drunk uncle.
Yeah, like he was more like an uncle than a father, I should say, because
Uh,
he wasn't exclusively like raising the
yeah, yeah.
gosling. Yeah,
He made a friend in a robot.
exactly. Yeah. Um, which technically he was just trying to trick her to get what he wanted in the beginning. But like obviously, like you could tell like almost immediately, like he just didn't want to be alone. And even Bright Bill, like when he was a little gosling, he like told and like what's her Roz power down, and Fink came and like called it up with her, and he was like, "Yeah, I miss her too when she's off." I was like,
Dude,
okay,
I was like,
okay.
bro, like, yeah, no, what, Roz like voices over parts of the story towards the end, and it's like we are not defined by what others think of us, but our own actions and impact we have on the world. And I was like, this is a kids movie. This is a kids movie, man.
One thing that I found just ever so slightly unbelievable, and it bothered me just a little bit, was they knocked down the giant tree that the beaver had been wa working on this
That was
entire
hilarious.
time, and they knock it down so that it goes into the river, which then floods the forest, which puts
Mhm.
out the fire. And I was like, I don't like, yes, it would cause some flooding, but to that extent, like the amount of flooding it caused, I was like, I don't know if that was believable enough for me.
I mean, that tree
Um,
would displace a lot of water. I don't know if the
I
physics
don't,
of it are correct, but it was that
but
tree was like
but to
quite the different size.
cover, like to make it like it would have had to have been like a tsunami to
The wave,
cover.
yeah.
Yeah. So and
But they
it
also like pushed a tree over, which is also already not that believable.
fair. You're very right. Like so obviously the forest gets burned down and they're like, we'll rebuild. It's fine. This happens. And Roz is like,
Yeah.
no, I can't say. And they're like, no, we'll defend you no matter what. And she's like, no, they're going to keep coming and they're going
Also,
to
they have
keep
laser guns.
destroying. Yeah. Like
They have fucking laser guns.
they're gonna destroy everything. They're gonna destroy you. And she's like, I can't watch this happen. Like, I cannot be the reason when all I have to do is go back. Like, and
Mhm.
she's like, I mean, she makes it known, like, I will find my way back. But right now, I have to make the
Yeah.
choice to save
There's she's
everyone
like,
else.
they can change this, but they
Yeah.
can't change. They can't take this away. And I was like, you once again, you are a robot.
Yeah. There's not much there.
She ripped it
Uh,
out. She literally ripped it out right before this happens. Which is,
yeah. I
well, I was like, is she just gonna die? I was like, hold on, that's not what I signed up for.
I know. I was like, is that her power source? Is she
It
gonna like
is.
just okay, so then how did she keep
She can work off solar energy, they said earlier in the
Oh,
movie, but
you're
I
right.
thought
Yeah.
she needed that to store energy. I don't know.
Yeah, I
But I
didn't pay
mean,
them.
also she like lost a foot and then a leg and then other parts. Like honestly,
I thought they were gonna salvage her. Why would they like re yeah, that wasn't one thing. I thought they were gonna like find her, take her, and just salvage her for
oh no,
parts.
it's like
And
every science fiction movie. Like they never want to get rid of the data.
yeah, true.
I mean, we watched those alien movies and they were all about like we need the data.
Oh my gosh, that was don't get me started on that.
But it's just humanity. Like
Yeah.
it very much makes humans look like the bad guys, but
Yeah.
like it also like is like humanity has achieved perfection, and I was like, what? What?
Because they don't have to do anything.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, it reminded like so they're what I assume. Also, these humans were in like good shape, and I was like, oh, these are gonna be looking like Wall-E people.
Yeah, that's what
That's what I was expecting.
yeah, that's kind of the vibes that I got was that it was gonna be very Wall-E-esque. But yeah, I guess the humans were in shape. We really didn't see them other than like operating the boards, but like really the AIs controlled
Oh yeah,
everything, which I mean like for us to have like a positive AI movie right now is great because horror is going crazy with it at the moment.
is it
Um,
really? I once again, audience, I only watch what Kathleen tells me to watch.
I think there's like two new horror movies coming out that are AI based, if they haven't already come out. And then I know Chucky most recently when it rebooted a few years ago with Aubrey Plaza, that was AI. And then Megan came out and that was AI as well.
I have
Uh,
never seen a Chucky movie,
really?
not a
I
single one.
saw my first one when I was 5, not by choice.
And look how it you ended up.
Yes, I'm terrified of baby dolls. Um, Yep.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Sorry to my future kids. They're not coming in the house.
They're not getting
Uh,
dolls. They'll
nope.
get they'll get
They can
Build-A-Bear
get stuff. They
Workshop
can get
stuffed
stuffies.
animals.
Yeah, they
That's
can
fine.
get stuffies. That's
You
it.
call them stuffies? Is that
That's
what they're short for? I didn't know that.
I adopted that term apparently. That's what cats kids call them, stuffies.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I really hope that she and her kids watch this movie
I
and
do
you guys
too.
can talk
Yeah.
about it. I really enjoyed how the ending, even though
Yeah.
there was like this bittersweet moment to it, was still like Bright Bill ends up back in
Mhm.
that farm place because
Yeah.
obviously, and this time he actually at least understands that like not all of them are Raws, but
Yeah.
he knows Raws, and so when she goes Bright Bill, I was like, yeah,
I
hell yeah.
thought, oh my gosh, sorry. I just had another thought. When they were in that little greenhouse farm before, I thought for sure he was going to come back and be terrified of Roz. I thought he was not going to want
Oh,
to
I
be
didn't think of
about,
that.
yeah, because those they obviously attacked them and unfortunately killed Longneck and
He
um
went out like a hero.
yeah, he did. But it just, yeah, in my mind, I was like, is he gonna come back and be just terrified of her? Because they all look the same for the most part. And he thought that like, oh, this is Roz. And then learned real quick it wasn't. And it was kind of traumatizing, I would imagine. So I thought for sure, I was like, oh no, this is gonna be bad. He's gonna come back and like be terrified because of what she physically is. Um,
Yeah, I can see why that. I think it was more to show from Roz's perspective because he finally found a place to belong. So she
yeah,
was worried more so in the fact that she's like, oh, he found a place to belong. I should go back to where I belong.
yeah,
But that's just what like the world had told her. Like, that's what her programming told her she belonged there. But I think it's really good because I also think this is a metaphor for toxic familial stuff as well. It's like she found her own family, which is awesome.
yeah, yeah.
And I think that's awesome. Also, why was there just one moose?
Why was there only one fox?
Why was there only one bear?
Well, that makes a little bit more sense. They're territorial.
That's fair. Uh,
And it was a male bear. So,
yeah, that's what
yeah.
I also when the beaver was like scraping a stick, I was like, is the beaver about to kill Roz? Is he going for it? Because she like like they stole his hut, and then he builds her a foot. I was like, damn, that he's a real one. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? Me and you could get along, buddy. Paddler, I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't say it, but Paddler is voiced by Matt Berry.
What's
Uh,
he voice?
he voices a lot of stuff, including Mr. Handy and Snip Snip in the Fallout series. He's in The Simpsons. He's in Curb Your Enthusiasm. He's in
Nice.
Disenchantment. He's
Nice.
the voice of a lot of stuff. Have you seen the Book of Boba Fett?
No.
So he is one of the robots in Book of Boba Fett.
Okay.
He's in a lot of stuff. Like he's in a solid amount of things where you're like, oh, okay. Uh, but like, yeah, like the freaking the swath of voice actors they got for this was crazy.
Yeah.
I really hope we get a second one because,
Yeah. I
like you
can,
said, there's a lot of source material, and if
yeah.
they do anywhere near as good as this, I think that's successful.
Yeah. I think they really hit out of the park and like yeah, the ending was very heartwarming. Just being able to see them together again, even if it was just like temporary. All right. Well, that's a wrap on this episode of The Dive In. If you enjoyed today's deep dive, don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. What should we dive into next? Let us know on YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. Until next time, bye.
Bye, guys.